while numbers may not lie, they can be manipulated to sway a narrative and an argument dangerously. Candace Owens is doing just that. And mind you, this is not me debunking her opinion that the media is over perpetuating a racial divide, as I do believe that the media does consistently try to prompt citizen divide between white and black, black and brown, white and brown, just red and blue, Christian and Muslim. It's just an overall divide the media has been consistent on. So I do not disagree with that. However, her stats and her argument in this instance seemingly is trying to, and I could be wrong, but it looks like to me she's trying to denounce the severity of blacks being killed by police when she prompts 55% of white people are killed, 19% of Hispanic, and where is their coverage? Now, I would agree, everybody needs to be covered. Representation is key. So, why are these numbers fallible? Because she's not giving you guys proper representation. Here's the actuality of the 55%. Here's why 55% is so high and why 27% is not what it seems in comparison to that 55. Because this is what she's not telling you. There's 330 million people in 2020 in America. Of that 330 people, 194 million are white. 194 million. Listen, 190. So over half, 59% are white, right? 194 million. And now let's go to 2020. White people shot 457, right? So they do have the highest. Again, if you want to talk about who gets shot the most, it will be white people. Why? Because white people live here the most by a clear distinction. So you have 450 out of 194 million, right? Let's go to black folks. We amass about 14%. So let's see what that look like. 46 million. So now let's go back. And then you go to black people shot in 2020. Okay, well, white folks shot in 2020 was 42 people. So 42 out of 194 million in comparison to, where's black? 31 out of 46 million. We have to go with representation because, yes, only 27% total black people got killed in comparison to 55 whites, but in terms of representation. So now when you look at the representation, you got 42 people out of 195 million white folks killed. So that's less than a percent of a percent of a percent. Whereas black folks, you have 31 out of 46 million. Now for the slow out there, 195 million is 4 times more than 46 million. So if you multiply 46 million, which means you'll have just as much black people as white people in America, then logically you have to multiply the deaths, the numerator. So if you multiply 31 by 4, you have 124 deaths out of about 160 million black people. But we're putting it in proportion to white people now. So you see that low percentage because there's not a lot of black people in existence in America. You see it spiked for white people because all of white people are in America. Now, in terms of percentage, they are killing black people at a clear higher percent. They are killing Latins at a clear higher percent. 2020, 131 people out of 56 million. 56 is not 195. Remember, white people have 195 million people in America. So 42 out of 195 million is way less of a percentage than 131 out of 56 million. Just multiply 56 million by 3. You get about 168 million, which is still less than white folks. But then if you multiply the numerator of 131 Latin deaths, it'll be way more than the 13 deaths. Excuse me. They only had 13 deaths. But if you multiply that by 3, it will be around where the white deaths are. So almost similar for the Latins, but clearly up in the blacks. That's 2020. 2019. Okay, we have all the stats for you. And mind you, this is what you can say clearly for yourself. Okay, let's look at Candace Owens' post again. 55% of whites die, right? But they make up 59% of the population. So you underrepresent them in killings. Blacks represent 14% of the population. However, 27% makes up on this killed list. So you overrepresent killings for black people. Hispanics represent 17% of the population, yet their kill rate is at 19. So again, over killing based on representation, while whites are being underkilled based on representation. Of course, I don't want nobody killed, but I'm just showing you how she's swaying these numbers to fit her narrative. And if she was to reduce it to representation, you would see, okay, less than half of a 1% of white folks, while more black folks by representation are killed than anybody. That's clear when you break it down to representation. And Hispanics and whites will be debating for the second spot. But once you reduce it, so let's go to 2018. 2018, I did the same process, and I came up with, or 2018, 399 white folks died out of 192 million via cop killing. Whereas black folks, 209 out of 46 million. So again, same proportion. 209 out of 46 million. You multiply both of those by 2, you're going to have 418 over 92 million. So if the black population just doubled in America, miraculously, we'll have 92 million people, and based on this stat, 418 would be killed with 92 million. And white folks, again, have only 399 out of 192 million. So imagine if there was 192 million black folks in the world. You would have to multiply that numerator by about 4, and now you get about 1,000 deaths if we had the same consistency and representation as white folks. See how these numbers are flawed? White folks die more because they exist more here. That's just common logic. They exist more than these demographics by 3 or 4 times. So logically, if blacks and Hispanics were toppling this, it would be an atrocity. It would be like, okay, now you only kill. Like, you have to, this is only common sense that white folks are at the top. They make up most of the population. If you don't understand that, you might be Candace Owens. And this is not a shot at her. I'm not a linear binary type guy to where it's like I'm protecting Democrats right now, or I'm against both of you guys are puppets. If you wholeheartedly protect democracy or Democrats or Republicans, then you are just a puppet. Candace Owens is no different than any other puppet who stands for her by her side. So every argument she has will denounce the racism exists, systemic institutional racism exists. But by these own numbers, when you do representation, you'll see black folks are killed at a higher representation. That's just simple mathematics that she wasn't willing to do, because she know y'all ain't willing to do this math. 2019, 370 out of 194 million white people got killed by the police, whereas 235 out of 46 million black folks got killed. Again, multiply 46,000 by 2. All you got to do is multiply by 2. 92 million blacks, and then you have about 470 deaths in comparison to the 370 deaths from white folks. So we don't even have to be half of the population. If we make up half of the population, then you'll see our killings get spiked up to where it's more than 55%. They kill us at such a frequent rate in comparison to our percentage here in America. So you guys have to be careful with this, and I'm not denouncing everything she's ever said. I do think the media pumps bad rhetoric, but these numbers are faulty. It's your boy Dame. Let me know your math on it. Do the math on it, nigga. Peace.